Hey, it's the Empire, Geoboxing Empire, Boxer Boxing. Now, Devin, the Dream Haney man, is going to be fighting George Gambosis extremely soon in June. He's fighting him within a week, like June 5th or something like that, June 4th, 5th. And, it's such a big deal. Such a big deal, this fight. Devin, the Dream Haney man, his father has been blockaded from Australia. He can't come into the country because of charges that happened a very, very long time ago. And, the thing is, George Gambosis has been talking about how, well, I've been talking to the Prime Minister and I tried to get him acquitted. I tried to get the charges off him so your father can come. That's what George Gambosis has been saying. Right? Now, that being said, Bill Haney's still in America and he tried to get his son to get him coached in a corner by himself while he's in America. How so? How is he going to do that? Well, ESPN is one of the biggest sports. It is the biggest sports platform in the world, period. So they got live technology and they got headphones that he could talk to Bill Haney live during the fight from the comfort of his couch all the way in America. And he tried to get that in the contract. George Gambosis denied it. He denied him getting the headphones in his for his son so he can coach him from abroad. So this idea that George Gambosis is going to simply have Devin the Dream, George Gambosis wants Bill Haney to be in a fight, it doesn't make any sense because how are you saying you want him in Australia, but you don't want him coaching his son from halfway across the world using your headphones, right? That means he's trying to block Bill Haney from coaching his son during the fight. Right, it's a mess right now with Devin Haney's team. He's going with a skeleton team to Australia. Now, I seen even my boy Johnny Rice. He went to Australia to support Devin and Dream Haney, and they kicked him out. They said some COVID BS, but they don't want anyone who's an elite level fighter to be anywhere near Devin and Dream Haney to give him any kind of comfort, just being there. Or just mentally being anything, being there mentally, being around him. When you have good people around you trust, you're gonna perform better than a whole bunch of guys you semi know. So that being said, man, George Gambosis is colluding with the Australian government to do anything in his power to keep him and his team from working together for Devin and Dream Haney's benefit. Right? People don't realize that a lot of these big fights in Australia, they are propped up by the Australian government, right? It's already a thing. If you guys didn't know, the Australian government funds these big fights because, well, it's good for Australia. A lot of people look at the ticket sales and they assume that's all the money makes, but that's not how it really works, right? Understand, when someone is watching a fight and they're from another country and they buy tickets to Australia, they get hotels, they pay for food, they see attractions, right? So that's generating more money for the country itself. People just coming to the country to watch the fight in the first place, right? I remember when Floyd Mayweather, he was going to go to prison for a minute for a case with his girlfriend or something like that, right? He smacked some chick up, and the judge ruled that Floyd Mayweather can't go to jail right now because he's an economic benefit for the state of Nevada. That's facts. Because when Floyd Mayweather fights, he makes a lot of money in the revenue. But what about the people who are traveling in the state to come see Floyd Mayweather? What about the high rollers who come spend tens of thousands, if not millions of dollars? They say every time Floyd Mayweather fights in Nevada, the economic boom from a Floyd Mayweather fight is $1 billion every time he fights. So these funded projects from Australia, this is funded by the state because it's getting money outside not just the fight, outside of the fight itself. People are actually paying to come to Australia, so that's where the revenue is coming from. So all that being said, man, is if it's being funded by the government, you gotta understand that they know about Devin Haney's team. They know about everything, and they're trying to make sure their guy wins. They're trying to make sure their guy wins. Now, everyone's always talking about how, Jeff Horn, the fight was sketch. How Manny Pacquiao should have got the win, and things are rough and tumble in Australia. So it's going to be a tough hill to climb for Devin the Dream Haney. Teddy Atlas, he's actually banned from going to Australia because he was trashing Jeff Horn so bad during the fight. Right, they actually banned him. He can't go back. Right, if you guys didn't know that, look it up. It's funny. But yeah, because he was talking too much trash about Jeff Horn in that Manny Pacquiao fight. He's over the top. But yeah, man. So we're gonna see how this whole thing plays out with George Gambosis, man. But there's just been a lot of sketch stuff over there. The guy don't even want his team to be around, and it matters because having the right coach and the right guy can tell you the right thing in the corner, and that could change the outcome of the whole fight completely. And they know that, so they're trying to make sure his father isn't around. So we're going to see how this whole thing plays. I already talked about earlier how Zab Judah's father, he's training, he's the new head trainer for Devin the Dream Haney when he goes over there for Australia. And we're going to see how the whole thing plays out. But this is a really big deal. First, it'll be the first undisputed 130 champion of all time. And these are one of the fights that's going to be historic because, like I said, it's the first 130 champion of all time. And if Devin Haney happens to get the win, he'll be the youngest undisputed champion of all time. And I think if George Gambosis wins, I know he'll be the first Australian undisputed champion of all time. So either way, it's still historic. It'll be the first one, and it'll set a precedent, and it will make a new star. Whoever's going to win this fight will be a new star in the sport of boxing, and he'll definitely have to be in the pound-for-pound rankings, no matter who wins. So this is one for the books, man. This is not to be taken lightly. People are covering this fight because it's historic. It means so much. So we're gonna see how this whole thing plays out, man. But I'm really excited to hear about this fight. It's almost there, a couple days away. A lot of drama. It's like a movie, man. You got government stopping things and stopping people who come from different parts of the country, and they even said this one guy made a comment that was pretty funny. I looked it up and it's true. This guy's like, "Hey, man, they let Martha Stewart in the country," and Martha Stewart, she's like a cook. She had her own little TV show and everything. Man, she has multiple felonies, man. She's a really... and they still let her in the state. So this idea that, oh my God, Australia, they're so protective of their citizens and no one makes it past it, not even celebrities. Man, that's BS, because Martha Stewart was in there and she has multiple felonies. Same thing on Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson has felonies too, and he was even allowed to go to Australia. So this idea that you just can't come, nothing can be done, man, that's BS. This is collusion from Gambosis' team and, the government out there, for sure. So we're going to see how this whole thing unfolds. But if Devin Haney gets his win, this will be a big one. Because going against the government, going against someone's team, wow. And being the B-side, following all his demands. And if he still gets it, man, that's a bad. And it's a rematch, too. So that'd be even funnier. But anyway, man, let me know how you guys feel about it, though. Man. Like, comment, subscribe. This is the Empire. Geobox Empire. Peace.